Take that too.
Be you back. This is okay. It's not
Whatever
It
you
is.
want.
You think it's fair?
Yes.
And you think it's fair?
Yeah, she can have whatever.
Hold on. Before we get into it, do you think it's fair?
I agree.
Welcome back to TDG. I am your host, Sean, and we're here with another edition, another Saturday, day after 4th of July. Hope you guys had a great 4th of July, ate some good barbecue, did some good barbecuing out, saw some fireworks. I didn't. I stayed home. I didn't do anything this year, but hope you guys enjoyed it. Got a bit of a small cast tonight, but that's okay. We're gonna have just as much fun, just as much edutainment tonight, hopefully. um, Actually, we're starting closer to on time. We're getting better. Every week, we're getting better. We're gonna get
A bit.
one day. We're gonna hit the 8 o'clock mark one day. But for now, we're aiming for 8:15. So yeah. So once again, if you guys are watching on the live feed, do us a big favor, hit that subscribe button and that like button, and we would greatly appreciate if you could share it. Tell some friends about this live stream, so that we can bring our content to more people, more eyes, more ears. So before our dues in any way furthered, we're going to hop into our introductions for tonight. As you guys already know, I am Sean, your host. As I said previously, I'm still 41, still single, and still doing this as the side hustle. My quick little promotion, as usual, is I'm promoting my dad's YouTube channel. That is Finances with Uncle Nev. If your finances are in a bit of a bind and you need some financial help, you weren't able to get that in school or from your own family, go ahead and tune on in. Make sure you give them a subscribe, and you can be learning some stuff about your finances. Hopefully, will get you back on track and get you straight. To my left, we have.
Candace, I am still 37. Got to double check that sometimes. I am recently divorced, and you can find me on the socials, on TikTok specifically. I'm looking at you because we talked about this and I did my homework.
All right.
Candace King Lifts.
Lips.
Lifts. I
Oh, sorry.
lift.
Oh,
Yeah,
you should have enunciated then.
I heard lips too, so I was like,
So it's an
Well,
only.
that's a choice.
you want to know what I heard earlier? Do you want to know what
Say it. Say it. Say it. Say it.
I mean, so out of context, but you said testicles.
I said testing. I was testing the mics. And I said testing, testing. I don't know where her mind is at, but that's
Anyway,
Rock on. I am the actual King Smith because my name is actually King Smith. 41 in a relationship. Shout out to my boo thing who's in Portland, Oregon right now. And you can find me on all of the socials, either at the actual King Smith or my lady and I do the King and Me show on all platforms. Sean, I'm going to do a little bit of self promotion here. Vote for us as America's favorite couple. We are on a contest out there and you can vote daily for free. We're currently sitting in first place in our category right now. I think there's about 4 rounds and we're currently in first place in the first round. So go vote.
What's the category?
I think they break them down just by regions.
Oh.
So there's like 80 or so odd couples in our region and we're in first right now. So really
want to pretend to be my girlfriend so we can compete against them? Just let me know. Hit me in the comments.
Competition, baby. Absolutely. So if you want to know how to vote, you could go to our website, thekingandmeshow.com. We have a link to varieties, link for America's favorite couple. You can hit a free vote on there. We'd appreciate it. If we win, then that would be one step, closer towards a thought that her and I are currently working, but that's a secret.
Marriage.
Huh?
Nope.
What?
The M word.
What? So that's it. That's me. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for showing up tonight. Really appreciate it as always. So we're gonna jump into. Let's jump into our first question.
Bet.
And this one isn't so much about dating, but it's been a question that's been kind of on my mind. But since we have Candace here, she's kind of the new person. Me and King always sling ideas off each other all the time. But it's about black fatigue.
Oh.
Do you know what it is, or have you heard of it?
I've not heard of it. I don't think, but I can imagine what it is.
Okay.
It's rough being black. That's what I would take from it. Am I on the right
Yeah.
That's
In the
one
ballpark,
that's one way of going with it. Yes.
and not just a blanket statement. Cause like I'm black, so it's hard. But like to you have to feel like you rise above in your professional setting. You have to sometimes adjust or tolerate certain things to a certain degree in which like a normal person or someone else who's not black may not have to have the same tolerance or threshold, but it's because we're black, we are under a microscope in a way. And yeah.
That is a version of black fatigue. Yes.
Yeah.
Sean and I have heard or seen a different version of black fatigue. So Sean, let her know what the other version of black fatigue is.
So the other version of black fatigue, as I understand it, I'm not 100% clear on it either, but from what I've seen and heard, is basically if you want to break down the black community, not the whole community, but the black community into two groups, the do wells and the ne'er do wells.
Okay, keep going.
Or if, for this generation, the YNs, is there LNs?
Hmm.
But there's a couple of different N's in there. So, anyways, okay, so you've ever been out like to a store somewhere in general, or maybe even a certain part of a city, and you like, you see your people, your ethnicity out there, but you're like, yeah, we gotta make sure we lock these doors and we park in a safe spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what black fatigue is, as far as I understand it. Um, where you're just you're kind of tired of having to have a certain level of keeping your head on a swivel and cognizant about your whereabouts, because there are other black people around that you have a feeling that they don't have the same opportunities that you had, so they might help themselves with your with your things. Basically, I'm trying to be
An-
delicate about this.
Another example, and if you want to take the camera, Sean, and put it on me, another example, and this is coming from my brother who is black, who has worked as a bartender and a server. He goes into a restaurant, and the moment that he sees, I'm gonna say, a certain type of black people coming to eat at the restaurant or he's a server of, he just goes because he knows it's about to be some issues, some sending of food back, and a $2 tip on a $200 meal. So when he was introducing that term or explaining what black fatigue meant for him, it was tired of being around, certain areas, seeing certain people, knowing that there was a high percentage of them acting a certain way. And that's how he explained what he thought black fatigue was when he heard the term.
Yeah, so I'm with you on that because there's matter of fact, you told me about a situation when you were at 7-Eleven recently.
Yes.
And I mean, if you want to tell a story, it's your story.
So I'm going up to 7-Eleven and I'm parking and I'm always scouting, like head on the swivel. That's just me. And as I'm about to go park, I see 5 or 6 young 18 to 20-year-old men walking up, boombox. Some of them got their shirts off. And I'm like, man, if they go into that same 7-Eleven, I don't know if I'm going to get out my car. Now, I feel good about myself, but 1v5 is a whole different situation. So I park my car for a second and I'm like, I've got two different trains of thoughts. A, be safe. I can go to a different store. They might be completely innocent. Uh, or B, don't be no bitch. Don't let them dictate what it is that I do. Going in the store, mind your business, and come out. And I hated that I had to take a second to even think through that scenario, to then just simply go, you know what? I feel like I can handle myself if something pops off. So let me go ahead and go in here, grab my items and dip. And as I was coming out, I found out really what they were doing. They were shooting an impromptu music video right inside of, like, right there in the parking lot of the
This
7-Eleven.
in Frederick?
Yes, this was the one right off of Opossum Town Pike down the road right here. And I just had to go, wow. Like, you're like kind of blocking up people coming in and out just to shoot this impromptu music video. I don't know how long they were there. I didn't stay to find out. Pretty sure that because even the manager, like it wasn't just the feeling that I had. Every single person that parked or was coming in or going out was eyeballing them, to include the workers that were inside of there, going, "What are these fools about to get into?" It was a harmless music video, but at the same time, like, why? So the term black fatigue on another side of the spectrum is people seeing how certain, and this is certainly not all. That is none of us sitting here in this room, but you start to see things and you just go, "Hmm," because you're tired of seeing that.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't, I'm not fatigued by seeing it. I'm not fatigued um by the behavior because I guess I don't see it as much in person. Um, I, validate the thought and the frustration behind it. Like, yeah, if I'm in a restaurant and then in walks so and so, it's like, all right, well, yeah, my head's on the swivel, but like that doesn't happen to me often enough for me personally to I guess call it the same.
Gotcha.
But I get it.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, I get it. I mean, there's people out there, of course, like I kind of spoken before, that they're not privy to the same experiences and not just experiences, but opportunities in their lives that just us three that are sitting on the couch in front of you have been. So they have to make the best of a situation sometimes. Um, I would say one of my most recent run-ins with black fatigue, and it's probably about 6 to 8 months ago. I was in Chicago. I was there for a work trip.
Of course.
Yeah,
Chicago.
exactly. I was there for a work trip, and I just come back from dinner with a friend, and this friend of mine was checking into her hotel. So I was trying to be nice and help her with her bags into the hotel, and so I left my backpack because she picked me up after work, and I had my laptop, my work laptop, my personal laptop, two sets of headphones, and I forget what else I had in there, but a whole bunch of electronics, probably worth a good, I don't know, four grand in my backpack. And we kind of joked about it because we went in. I guess her room wasn't ready, and we were talking to the staff for a little bit, and brought her bags to the room. And we come back down, I'm like, watch your car get towed. And we come back, and her car was gone. And her car was right in front of the hotel. It wasn't in a parking spot, like, because it's the city. So we parked on the curb in front of the hotel and in front of big glass windows. So I'm like, oh man, you did get towed, and I felt bad. So we started, asking. There was a an attendant there, and he was asleep when we walked in, basically. And he was like, no, they don't tow around here. If they're gonna tow, they come tell us first before they tow anything. And he's like, that's my car right there, parked in front, and they know not to tow my car. So we called one or two tow truck companies that service that area. They said they were pretty sure they didn't have it, but they had have to wait, and they'd let us know. Um, and then we end up calling the cops, and I guess the cops have their own yard as well. The cops didn't have the car either. And that's why I remembered my car keys were in my backpack, and on my car keys I had a tracker, a Samsung AirTag, basically. So started tracking the car, and I was like, yeah, it's nowhere near where I'd asked the tenant two and the cops, and they were like, "That's nowhere near our lots. Our lots are about a mile or two away at maximum." The car was like at least 6, 7 miles away, going down the highway. Um, and then it was my keys were, I guess, thrown out the window. I never found them, but the last time they pinged, it was on the side of a road. So I guess they threw them out the window. And the next day, they found her car because she had, I guess, GPS tracking on her car that she'd forgotten about, but I guess insurance knew that they did, and I guess they shut the car off or whatever it was. And she had a friend who was a cop, and he went to go, check out the car and find it. And they cleaned the car out of everything, even down to her like driving shoes. They didn't smash any windows because she did have a Hyundai. I forget what kind of Hyundai it was. It was like a Hyundai SUV or something like that. And they just took everything. And I was very pissed off At first I wasn't, but then I was because I had to get a whole new laptop, and it's money I don't want to have to spend, and it's money that someone's either they're going to use that laptop, or they're going to pawn it, or they're going to sell it, and that's ill-gotten gains that I had to work towards to get, and you're just going to go and take it on top of taking someone's transportation. So I was very heated for a while, and that's kind of the black fatigue that I experienced recently. That I'm just tired of it. I mean, like I get it, you don't have certain things, and you're struggling to survive, but to take it from somebody else, not knowing their situation, that's unacceptable.
How
So
do you know they are doing it because they need to survive?
who knows why they're doing it, but
But like, I'm masking that because you have reference to like people haven't had the same opportunities and things like that. But like, sometimes it's the lifestyle that
hmm
it's just their lifestyle because taking something versus working for it is so much easier.
yeah.
It's not the morally, you know, great thing to do,
hmm
but if that's how they do it, what's motivating them other than not getting caught to not do it? And then they can have the same things that you have.
That's a good point. That's a good question. I don't have an answer for that. I mean, like only thing I can come close to is like I said, the way I was brought up. You work for what you want. You went to school, you got your education. Here's more or less kind of the rough path of your life as far as you go to school, get your education, you get a job, and you go from there. um, and stealing from others never really crossed my mind, especially a car. Um, and I would venture to think that if you're willing to steal a car, and possibly either pawn it. I'm not sorry, not pawn it. Drive it to a chop shop or whatever it is, or steal the contents inside of it. You're probably not doing too well. I don't think anyone who's doing very well or working a 9 to 5 is going around stealing cars unless they're like high end sports cars.
Sean, I think that we understand consequences to things, right? So there's a consequence to theft that can occur by doing it. Me, I don't want to go to jail.
Right.
I'm not built for jail like that, right? So and it's not just that. Like people, depending on the laws in your area and stuff, have the right to defend themselves based off a certain thing. So like if I see you stealing my car, I might have the right to pop off some things, and now you got to learn a lesson about coming and trying to take something that's not yours.
Right.
So that's where, to Candace's question, I really don't understand certain people's lifestyle because I'm aware of the consequences to my actions and things that like I've got going on. So if you want to live that Chicago fast life, easy money, and step on people doing that, then you have to also be aware of what that how typically every single person that I knew in my hometown, which is a small hometown that everybody knows everybody type situation, I'm aware that that could mean that you're either A, going to end up in jail or B, dead. And 100%, this is 100% of the people I knew that lived that fast life in my hometown did not live to be over the age of 35.
So we don't have to understand it, but it people go so hard for this lifestyle that it doesn't make any sense. And so my family, a good bit of my family lives in Southeast DC. We are from here, but it was like my grandmother's sisters and brother who moved down there and started their families down there. Their kids are okay. I mean, some of them still live there, some of them kind of moved away a little bit, but one one of the grandchildren, then so to speak, there's three kids, three grandchildren, three brothers in this family. One of them is getting by. I mean, I don't know what he does for a living, but he's got two girls. He's never really been in trouble, whatever. Does he have a good job? I don't know. I don't know. That one, you know. Then there is a firefighter, very successful firefighter. He's the youngest of the three. The only one with a career. Just bought a house, younger than me, doing exceptionally well. The middle child grew up mostly in Southeast. The other two had um not upbringings, but it was just like where were they living at the time? And the one who grew up heavy in Southeast also adopted that Southeast YN lifestyle where at family functions or whatever, I mean, yeah, everything is normal. It's so and so. It's a normal person. But his chosen lifestyle, as in if you wanted to get out of it, you got all of us. You know, you have a way. His chosen lifestyle. Now I don't know whether it was stealing, whether it was drugs or whatever, but it's the streets. He chooses it. And he's in jail now. But like there were opportunities where he was kind of in and out, in and out. It's a choice. So marked by things that you see like that video that was being shot at the 7-Eleven, that's part of the lifestyle. I don't know what is so appealing about it because the things that you would then go and buy. There's no way that like people in that lifestyle, unless they're still in those high-end cars or what have you, are out here going and buying something that I can't,
Hmm.
right? But yeah, I can do it safely, right? And I can do it legally, right? But again, it's the lifestyle. You don't have to work for it. And I don't know that that's what they're like, "Nah, I don't want to get a job because then I got to work." But we're not going to understand it.
Right.
Cuz it's why would you chronically put yourself at risk for going to jail or ending up dead? Like literally one time we were down there, it was like Christmas time, went down there for a brunch. Growing up there was fine, but you become aware of where you are, it's like, oh shoot. So one of my cousins just walked up into the house and they were like, yeah, they just got somebody down there on the Ave. And it's like, what do you mean? Got somebody? And they're like, I don't
Then
know.
what?
It looked like they just ran up on them. They're sitting in the car, they're still in there. And then you just they go about their business. And I'm over here like, do we need to
What?
duck down or
Right.
something? But they're not doing bad.
Yeah. I don't get the. I just don't get the
We ain't gonna get it.
mentality.
We're not gonna get it.
I know. I know. I know. Huh. It's tough. And that's the other thing. I mean, when certain people move into certain neighborhoods as well under certain circumstances, I'm talking about typically Section 8. Um, they can sometimes bring down the property values, and also besides property values, just become kind of a nuisance because there is a bit of a culture depending where you live or your area where you live, and people tend to who are paying for where they live a certain way. And I'm not saying this for all Section 8 people. I'm sure there's great Section 8 people out there, but there is a dark cloud over the Section 8 name because people who don't have to pay out of their own pocket these exorbitant prices just for housing, um, they tend to not take care of their things. Um, my dad used to own a couple of real estate properties, and he had some Section 8 people in there before he knew what Section 8 was really all about. And he always tells me this story basically like when they left the place in such disarray, and there was damage to the house, and he tried to take him to court, and he did get taken to court. And I think either his lawyer or someone else's lawyer, they basically said like, you can't get blood from a stone. They have nothing, so you can't get anything from them. And you're just kind of left with your hands in your pockets because you have to fix it yourself. So all you can really do is just decide to no longer rent to them anymore, and rent to someone who's going to be paying the full amount out of their own pocket because they're more likely to treat your place better. They might try to do that whole 1 month thing where the last month they don't pay and they say take my security deposit, but at least you're getting paid the months they were there. Um, so unfortunately, like I said, that's another part of the black fatigue that happens sometimes in Section 8 as well. But yeah, those are my two examples of black fatigue. If you guys have some examples, drop them in the comments. Let us know what you've had to deal with when it comes to black fatigue, if you have had to deal with it.
Is there any other fatigue?
Not yet. I mean, not that I'm aware of. I'm sure there is.
I can't think of, and I haven't heard of any. Right? I don't know. And I'm also thinking that to kind of go along with black fatigue, I think we're about to see a big widened gap between the have and the have nots. And there are going to be people that understand that and people that don't. And I think that the have-nots are going to become real aggressive on infringing on the rights of the haves. So, a bit of a warning out there for the haves. Step your protection game up. And that has a ripple, and this might not be the episode to talk about it, but that also has a ripple on the relationship market and stuff as well when trying to understand like your socio economical background and situation and like what you can and I always say that in the dating market and the relationship market you are competing. You have to understand what you're competing against. I said a little bit before you and I went live today. I am it's a it's a great thing that my lady understands the type of person that I am, because if I were to compete against men that were great dressers, folks that had like a wardrobe, Candace, I'm a 90% t-shirt and basketball or like shorts wearing guy. That is my style. That's what I feel comfortable in. Now, if we need to step out and dress up for an event for something, I have a small amount of wardrobe that she has picked out for me because style is not my thing. So if she needed to be with a man that had their own style and could do that, I'm not it. So if I were to be in the marketplace competing with those other guys, I fall at the bottom end of that. So I don't I always tell people that if you're looking to get in a relationship, because I did sports, I think you have a sports background as well. You have to me, you have to treat it like a competition. What do you think when you hear that? Do you agree or disagree that it's a competitive
Mm,
relationship game out there?
Um,
Do
I
you
don't
think
know.
competing is the right word?
No.
Oh,
I'm not gonna disagree because if
okay.
that's how you feel, but like I don't want to compete.
Why not?
I'm not a competitive person. So I'm not a competitive person
Okay.
at all. I'll be like, you go ahead, you got it, you won, whatever, because I don't want to have to fatigue myself to catch up with something that I'm not. So like what you said about style, I feel the exact same way. Like I feel like I'm coming into my own and I can at least I have things that I would wear if I'm going out to do something. Like I
Yeah.
can put it together. But like I can't like, oh, I killed this outfit. I put this, I'm wearing the da da da. No, it's just like, here's a dress or here's some clothes that aren't black, that aren't workout type clothes. And hey, I'm comfortable, whatever I choose. I probably bought it from Ross or Walmart or whatever. So
Hey, don't. Hey, you speaking my language?
and I mention that because you could tell me whatever you're wearing is a certain brand. I have no idea what that is.
Save.
Same thing with cologne and stuff. I'm wearing Bath and Body Works because I mean, perfume and stuff is expensive. You
Yes.
know.
Yes, it is.
So if someone has a standard, if there's someone that I like and I want that person, right? And I look at this like I'm competing with other people to get to that person, I don't want him bad enough. And I don't want to be competing because, like, say, for example, too, what if, I think we talked about this one of those last podcasts, like, there's an expected upkeep too. And so if I had to play up to get your attention to beat this one out, then I have to maintain that as well to keep your attention or to keep you for what I think I got snagged you with. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It does, but I don't agree. What you said makes sense, yes. But I think as you as far as you being a woman, and if you were saying you have to compete to get a man or his attention, you win his attention. I don't think you have to keep that same level of energy up the whole time. No. Um.
But just we were speaking about dressing in
Oh,
particular. So, I mean, I think that may vary based off of what it is we're discussing, you know? Um, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Sean.
I'm sorry. What was the question?
The
I,
You have to tell
question.
me.
I was fixing the cameras.
No, no, no. I got into something because I knew you had to do some technical things. So I was just asking her if she feels as though in the dating and relationship marketplace that you have to compete.
Yeah, you do. I mean, unfortunately, you do. Whether you're male or female, but there's different levels to it. Um, Men are the pursuers, and women they get the typically they want to, or sorry, they have the first right of refusal basically because most women they're not approaching men, even though the tides seem to be shifting a bit here now because men are saying that what's the point of me approaching when women are starting to take it as blood sport to see who can shoot the guy down the worst or make the biggest commotion, and guys are kind of getting tired of it because they're saying two things. They're saying approach me, shoot your shot, but when a guy does approach and shoot his shot, then they're shot down hard, and made a spectacle out of. And women will say, apply pressure and push up on me and don't take no for an answer. But then you see videos of guys doing the same thing and they're called weird, they're called creeps, and they're called this and that. So it's like, what do you really want? I mean, if you're doing what you should be doing, or so biologically should be doing as a male to pursue a female that you're interested in, and you're not getting the results that you feel you should be getting, not saying you should be getting the number or getting attention every single time, but I think it comes down to a woman being able to um, basically tell the guy in a certain fashion or a respectful fashion, "Hey, I'm not interested," or "Hey, I'm talking to someone," "Hey, I got a boyfriend," and not make it into a sport and be like, "Ew, who are you? Why are you talking to me? Why are you even over
Do
here?"
you see that a lot?
Yeah.
Candace, y'all stop me if I've shared this story here because I've shared this story in many other places. Sean, camera.
Mhm.
Um,
Gotcha.
I'm 5'7.5", and I throw that half in just to be comical to round up to 5'8". When I was on the dating apps, I listed my height. I don't feel any type of way about not being 6 feet or anything like that. If you exclude me for being under 6 feet, it is what it is. I was on Bumble. I had my height listed as 5'8" on there. I'm talking to somebody and I had like the full body shot, like the whole thing. And then she goes, "So are you really 5'8"?" And I'm like, 5'7.5", right? And then she goes, "Yeah, I'm looking for something different. I don't mean to be rude, whatever." And I just said, "All right, cool." And then she unmatched me. Didn't think nothing of it. That same day, I'm going to an event. And if you know me in person, depending on what setting I'm in, like I can be gregarious, boisterous, talking and things like that. And I'm working the room. I didn't realize who it was that came to me, but it was the same woman from Bumble. She introduced herself. We started talking, and she goes, "You know, I like you." She was like 5'5", 5'6". So it wasn't like she was the same height as me. My current girlfriend's an inch and a half taller than me. Whatever. But she was 5'6", and she excluded me because of my height. But when she saw me in person and she saw how I kind of like worked the room, her opinion of me changed. And she invited me out. She said, "Hey, I'd like to maybe go grab some coffee sometime, or dinner if that's your thing, yada yada." I turned her down
Yes.
because I felt some type of way about being excluded just on my height when the conversation on the app was going well. But because I didn't meet a certain standard in her head, which you can have whatever standard you want, that's fine. I get dismissed. But then to see me the same day and change your mind,
Then
I thought was wild and audacious.
So, you guys have said, I asked you, does that happen, right? Going back to, you made it seem like women like bash guys or make a public spectacle, as you said, of it. So, but also you said that women should be able to articulate that they're not interested
right.
for whatever reason, and whether she's clear on her own reasons, she was respectable and
She
she had a
was.
reason. And you also circle back to it at the end. If you have your standards, that's fine. That was her standard. She might have learned a lesson when she saw you in person on, like, if you keep putting people in these boxes, then you might miss out on something.
Yeah.
So she wasn't disrespectful.
No, she wasn't.
She was able to articulate what she want, that she wasn't interested, and she didn't make a spectacle.
Right.
So where does any of that fall into that?
I'm glad you asked.
No, no, no.
Into
From
what?
your own experience. I'm saying, tell me, what are you like? Bring it on in a little bit more. Like, what are you
Ooh.
referring to? Because that's not the same thing. She didn't make an example out of you.
I
She
gave a
didn't.
Right.
I
He
gave
just
a different story, but I do have one where I was made a spectacle of.
Okay. Tell me about that because like I don't see that in regular life. On the internet, sure. And I know that my friends for the most part are in situations or whatever, but like also like the type of people that we are. That's why at some point on another episode I asked you like you might have a type. You might have a type that you keep running into the same situations. And I'm not personally that type when we're talking about making a spectacle of so and so and embarrassing. I'm not. The people I run with aren't. Like, we're not those kind of people. So it's like, where are you? Not saying they don't exist, but if you have so many examples of this happening, and maybe not the spectacle part, but something else, it makes me wonder if you are looking and sifting through the same type without even really knowing it.
or looking in the wrong places. What you're saying.
Yeah. And I'm not telling you where or who
Hmm.
to change it up or to switch it up. It's just like there's just no way because I hear with some of the things we talk about, I'm like, that doesn't even happen in real life. But like on the internet, sure. Or like, in the shade room, okay. But like for you to feel like you've seen it so often, it's just like, well, maybe we need to take a closer look at what this dating pool that you're swimming in.
Hmm.
It's
I'll
like,
I'll go first. Shortly after my divorce, I take a trip. I'm down in Florida and I'm waiting on some guys to pull up at this bar and lounge. Like we were there for a karaoke night. And I'm like, I've been out the game for a minute. Let me see if I still got it. So I see a group of young ladies that I'm like, okay. I see someone who I'm attracted to. Let me go up. I'm going to introduce myself and just kind of see how it goes. This is the my one and only cold approach that I've ever done post divorce. So I walk up to the group and I say, "Hey, ladies, how y'all doing?" And I be sure to address everybody to look at everybody before I'm like looking at the one that I want to talk to. And then I said, "Hey, I'm sitting over here. I'm waiting on some of my guys. I don't mean to be rude. If this comes off as rude, because y'all are laughing, having a good time. I wanted to introduce myself. Y'all seem like some cool people to know. My name is King. I live up in the DC area, not from here. But y'all seem like some ladies that would be good to know, right?" And the one who I looked at, who I was doing, who I was interested in, from just those words, and I'm kind of paraphrasing a bit, but that's the essence of how I spoke. Looked at me and said, "Boy, bye," just like that. And I just said, "Huh." I did an about face, walked away. My homies came. We're about six deep, and it's a mix between guys that were in a relationship, married, and single. And then we had like the upgraded, not like VIP area, but there were different stages, and we had like the upgraded stage where we're all sitting, we got drinks and stuff coming or whatnot. And tell me why that same group tried to come and get in our area. And I'm fighting the men, which they see ass and titties, and now they all discombobulated because I'm like, don't let them in. They didn't know what I had with the because I didn't, bother saying it. Afterwards, they were like, bro, if you would have said something earlier, we would have like turned them away. But I was like, well, it was already too late. Like, how was I going to explain then? Don't let them in, and here's why. Like, I didn't really feel like going through all of that then. But I thought it was interesting that of all of the things that she could have said, especially when I'm coming, I'm addressing everybody and I'm nice and respectful, I get a boy bye.
Yeah,
One and only time I said that's the last time I'm cold approaching. Period.
I get it. I get it. My quick little story before I get into this little blurb. I think it's when I was out in Florida years and years and years ago. I think I was out with my brother, and we'd gone to a club, whatever it was, or a bar, something like that. And people were dancing, drinking, whatever it was. And I kind of like walked up to this, I wasn't to walk up, but shimmied up to this girl, and I was just like, hey, how you doing? And she just turned the camera on myself, and she just did one of these and just walked away. I'm just like, all I said is, hi, how you doing? And then just took off, and shot me that look. So like I said, it happens. Um, it isn't as it's probably more often than you realize because you're a woman. You don't have to do the approaching as much, I would assume, if at all.
But I understand maybe not that example as much, but like y- I try to put myself in the shoes of the person that you just said you approached,
Hmm.
right? You just everybody's out drinking, whatever, and you just said you shimmied up to somebody.
But I said, "Hey, how you doing?"
Right, but she's probably like, "Where'd you come from?" Like, I'm not saying what she did was right or whatever. I'm saying that like you were telling the story, right? And I've been in a situation where I'm out and like somebody I feel like gets too close. And it's not that I'm trying to be mean, but like, shit, where'd you come from? Like, come from,
Wasn't one
you
of
know?
those. I didn't do a Batman on her. I just did a pin.
I Batman.
I don't know. I mean, that I don't know. I don't know, but I get what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, to be on the other side of it, I don't. That one for me seems a little bit more gray because it feels like something that's happened to me before. Um, but I don't think that
How did you handle what happened to you?
I might have done something similar, but I don't know about the face. It's just kind of like, oh shit. And then also, where are my friends? Let me, like it's I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not really trying to get too into it because I'm not taking up for her. I'm just saying that in that setting, she might be by herself or realize that she's by herself. There's a little bit more versus just like, boy, bye, get out of my face. That's psh,
Well, like I said, this was years ago. It's probably at least 15, 20 years ago. So I'm like, oh, am I now 40, 21? Yeah, probably about, I was like, probably was 21 when I was down there.
mm,
Yeah, it was a while ago, about 20 years ago. So the memory isn't super great because some things stick with you and some things you don't. And I typically try to like block out the bad stuff. So I don't have all the details of something that happened 20 years ago, unfortunately. Sorry.
no,
Um, but like I said, I'm glad you asked because I did come across this post today on Facebook, and actually, it's more of a response. But this guy says, um, "It's wild out here." um, Okay, it's wild out here. This modern style of dating is completely backwards, and honestly, it's turning a lot of men off, especially black men who are tired of being used, disrespected, and ghosted after doing the most. We're expected to chase, plan, pay, entertain, carry conversations, prove our worth, and and be emotionally available from day one. All while women come to the table with nothing but entitlement, unrealistic standards, and a phone full of options. The truth is, modern dating has become a one sided performance where men are constantly being tested but never appreciated. It's not about connection anymore. It's about control, attention, and validation. And if you don't play the simp role or fit the social media fantasy, you're discarded like trash. There's no respect, no effort, no accountability. And women today will tell you they're the prize while doing the bare minimum. And that mindset is exactly why more men are walking away from the table. Let me see here. As a black man, I'm done with the games. I'm not auditioning for a role in someone's ego trip. I want a real woman, not a TikTok philosopher, not a soft girl on Monday and a boss chick on Tuesday. I want femininity, loyalty, respect, peace, and values, not feminism dressed up in Instagram filters. If that makes me toxic in today's clown world, then so be it. I'd rather be labeled toxic than be a slave to the system that offers nothing in return. Modern dating is broken because we stopped honoring tradition, structure, and purpose. And until women stop seeing men as walking wallets and start appreciating leadership, protection, and masculinity again, we're going to keep seeing more men check out. And honestly, I don't blame them one bit. So that was one part of his response. How does that strike you, Candace? Do you have any thoughts or feelings about that?
yeah, it just sounds like he's mad because, and I'm not saying, oh, whatever, like that's his experience.
Mm-hmm.
But like mine is just not. And there are people that are out there. I get it, but that's not everybody. And I have my own reference of the people that I run with. I don't have two or three friends,
Right.
right? But I have somebody that I used to live in the neighborhood with, and she and I actually just got together recently. She came over to the house to catch up, and we talked about like the whole dating thing after marriage and all of that. And we're just different, totally different. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but like there are people that are materialistic, and they like material things. So I'm not saying that to talk down about them, but their love language and something that will win them over is gifts.
Yeah.
I am not that person. I don't know, I don't have any friends that are like, yeah, buy me this, get me this, I need that. And not simply because we can do it ourselves, but going back to what we were saying earlier, I don't even know the brands. I don't want to spend that much money. And I don't want you to spend that much money on me because if we're just dating and get to know each other, like, I don't know that I want that type of investment from you because are you going to be able to handle it if I don't want to do this? So like I hear that and it just sounds like a big rant of nothing because if we're just talking about men and women, right? Do I fall in that category? No, but you just categorize me in at women and dating and da 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 da, but that I am not that person. But that's
No.
his experience.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't agree with even generalizing dating to be that way.
Mhm.
I would question, who is he going after? Does he have this own standard that he doesn't even realize?
So what if he's going after a variety of different types of women and he's getting similar results?
So all the ones that they're so different, but they're all the same.
Yeah.
He's describing them as the same.
Yeah.
So are they different?
Well, the thing is, you don't know until you get to know the people.
Right, and you don't know that man.
Of course. Yeah.
So my point in saying that is like people will get and write a post and say a bunch of stuff, but like
Hmm.
you ever have that friend that be like, I don't know why this keep happening to me. Ah, ah, ah. They don't know why it keep happening to you, but as a friend and an outside spectator, you're like, I do.
Yeah. Yes, I got three
Yeah.
three people I can name off the top of my head right now.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Am I one of them? I'm
Nah,
joking.
nah. There's two guys who are their own problem, and one lady friend who asked me to be critical. I don't think she was expecting me to be as critical as I was, and then got a little bit upset with me with what I told her. But the interesting part about the guys is the guys didn't get upset when I told them,
Because they're gonna turn around and keep doing it.
More than, well, yes, yes. And
And
as a
so
matter
it
of
should.
fact, I recently got asked because somebody said, King, you're a good dude. You likely have good dude friends too. I said, my good dude friends are all booed up. Those that aren't are ain't shit dudes. And I would not recommend that person to you because I know he's a dog.
Yeah, I mean, and when you said he's his own problem, I don't even mean that people are their own problems. It's just like things, yes and no. They could be good people, but like I'm going back to the man who wrote the post. What if he would never look at me because I be walking around in workout stuff all the time, slides with the Puma socks. They're not Pumas today, but they are mismatched.
Yeah.
What, yeah. What if he would never even give me a chance because he's looking at me like, well, her hair ain't did. Shit, look at her nails. You only want to see my feet. They ain't that bad, but they're really not. But like, it's not like, and I don't hold, I mean, I'm comfortable, I'm presentable, blah, 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 you know. But what if that's not good enough for him, right? That's not his standard. And so we would hear him go on this rant about women just want this and this and that, but then you look at the women that he likes
Hmm.
and they are the type that like, I got this or ooh, my new Coach bag, ooh, look and see it, da, 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 da. And it's like it's an upkeep that he,
He's signing up for basically.
yes,
Hmm.
but not ready to actually take a deeper look at that because I don't want to say what do you expect? You expect a different outcome, I guess, and respect and all the things that he said that he wants, but like This would be what I'd be asking. Are you looking in the same pool? Because just how you got excluded for being 5'8" and you're a good person and she changed her mind, he could have a totally different experience with women if he didn't have that low key standard that he doesn't realize he has. But he just went online and made a post and went on a rant, but he's not looking at himself. Not to say he's a problem or there is a problem, but if you keep running into the same things, it is like, what can you do differently?
Right.
Or what are you doing that is the same?
Right.
You just keep on, well, back to the drawing board. I want a good woman who's going to be this and this and this. But the drawing board that you go to is a chalkboard and not a dry erase every damn time. So why not try a dry erase?
Hmm.
Or why not try something different?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Try something different.
Not just once.
I didn't say just once. Jeez.
Not just once, just to say, and see, it still didn't work. So all women aren't accountable. I saw it on a study somewhere.
I'm gonna clip that and just put it. All women are uncountable. So, um, thanks for the soundbite.
I will never come back.
um, yeah, I mean, even me personally, I've been trying different things, different people, just different everything, and I do get different results. But at the same time, those different results are somewhat kind of similar as well. Um, one of the one I hate even bringing this up, but one of the ones that kind of pisses me off a bit is when I get like, "Oh, you're so nice. You're such a nice guy. Why are you single? Why aren't you snatched up?" And I just gotta kind of like look at them and blink my eyes a few times and just be like, "I don't know either." But like I said, I do kind of know because it does seem to me, and it isn't so much just me, but I mean, King, you can kind of chime in if you like, that women tend to like a guy with edge, or for lack of better terms, a bad boy. Um, and that's not to say that I don't have that or that's not the type of person I am. That's just something that I keep on a shelf. It's a certain time, certain place for that kind of that part of Sean to come out. But,
When I was born, I didn't look at that as rude or disrespectful or anything.
mhm,
But I also got told by that when I learned about that person's history and the prior people that they were with, they were used to like chaos, and I'm not a chaotic dude.
right, yeah.
So yeah, so to that person, I was born and not what turned them on.
Hmm. And to me, I mean, kind of to what you were saying as well, when I do get stuff like that, I'm like, okay, clear indicator that this person isn't for me because, like the girl who then saw you the same day and was like, let me try him out, I already know that this isn't something I want to try out because I'm not going to try to convince you, change your mind, or show you something different because you don't want to get to know me as a person and then make a decision. Um, so that's just my personal experience with it, and that's fine. I'll either find someone or I won't. I'm totally fine with that because I'm still enjoying my life and making the most of it. But I think that when I do find someone who's able to see that about me or sticks around to find out about that, then we'll be that much more happier. So I'm cool with it. Um, did you have there was something else I think you said you wanted to bring up?
Sort of, kind of. It was a bit of a spinoff from that guy because the post that you read is a guy that was dating in the DMV area. So I was just curious. All three of us here at a certain point have tried navigating the dating scene around this area, and I was just curious if you have experience dating outside of the DMV area. Did you find it easier or not?
I did have a long distance for a little bit, and it wasn't super difficult. The distance didn't really bother me that much. It was the expenditure of the money versus what I felt that I was getting out of it in return. Um, and it wasn't like, oh, I'm spending this much money, so I should get this. But there was a plan in place for her to eventually move here, and it it wasn't moving at the pace where I thought it should be moving. I would check up on her and say, "Hey, how's this going? Have you looked into this? How's the job search going? About the transfer, this and that. Oh, I haven't gotten to it. Oh, I'm working, but I got to do this." And it was just always an excuse. Um, me personally, and I'm sure she probably felt differently, but I felt like I was putting in more effort than she was. Not to say I was ticking off, check marks, whatever it was, but I just felt like I was going there more. I was buying a plane ticket to go there more. Um, and then when I would go there, I mean, I'd end up paying for pretty much everything. Um, and then when she would come here, I'd still pay for everything. And like I said, I was only asking for like, hey, get your affairs in order so we can get this show on the road. And I wasn't getting that. So dating outside of DMV, like I said, wasn't difficult, but the timelines for me, or the speed of which the timelines were coming together, just wasn't what I was looking for. So that's one of the big reasons why I just chose to end it. So yeah.
Dennis, do you have anything to add to this? I do, but I want to give you the floor.
I've never dated outside the area,
Okay.
only in the area.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. For me, then, I had a mix of things that I had tried. So after my divorce, the beauty of online dating is that you're not locked into a certain region. And what I found about dating in the DMV was, and this is just putting my whole self out there. After my divorce, I was broke with a capital B, ROKE, broke. And as a government worker and other things, I didn't have, I had what I had was my minimum standard, right? But at the same time, I'm like, hey, look, I'm almost 40. I ain't got my own place. This is where I'm at financially. This is what I'm working towards. If you can see the vision, like how I can see it, then I think we could do something. But if not, and you want somebody that's ready made, which is what it seemed like was the standard around here, you kind of already have to be ready made, so to speak, then I could tell that for most of those people, it wasn't going to work out. I'm from the South. Like I say, like I'm from the South, like Alabama, Georgia area. And a lot of that stuff when I was talking to people when I was like, you know what, I might move back down south, they didn't really care about any of that stuff. They just want to know really like in general, whereas more people care more about family structure and things like that. It was conversations that were led on values with people down south versus up here. It seemed like it was more conversation about like status. And I found that weird. So that's my experience dating in the DMV and outside of the DMV, specifically
Mm-hmm.
in the South.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've dated inside the DMV for what the past, I got here since 2003. So that's like 20 years. um, and it's been different. I mean, it hasn't all been bad. I mean, I learned from a lot of the experiences. I learned what I want, what I'm not going to tolerate anymore, what I'm looking for, all that kind of stuff. Um, and as the years go on, you get callous, I guess you'd say. You get a little more um, protective of yourself and your peace and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, you won't put up for certain things. I remember I had an ex when I first moved here, and I told her, I was like, look, you're gonna have to basically kind of grow up, and you're gonna have to kind of grow up, and because I want this to be moving forward, and I need you to be an adult, basically. Like you're gonna have to start working. I think at the time she wasn't even working, um, and she didn't want to do it. And even at the time, she had a daughter, um, and so basically we ended up breaking up. I forget why, because this was 20 years ago. But long story short, she has like 5 kids now.
Ah, my bad.
um, and she basically works her ass off now to the point where she works like doubles. And when I say doubles, I mean like 48 hours back to back because she's like a home healthcare worker or something like that. Not married. I think she's got a boyfriend. I don't know. But I'm just like, I understand everyone develops at a certain speed and whatever it is, but like this isn't the first time I've come across this where I'm like, look, here's what I'm willing to provide. I'm willing to work with you, but we have to both work together so we can move forward together. And they're just like, nope, I want to have fun. And then they kind of look back and when they've gotten older, and a couple of them have tried to, circle back. And I'm just like, no, you told me what you said back then. I don't go backwards. I only go forwards. Um, And I look back and I'm like, whew, I feel genuinely sorry for some of them because they could have had an easier and better life, but for whatever reason, they didn't want to. They chose differently.
Past life.
Yeah. And I'm not bitter about it. So anyone who's watching, oh, he's just bitter. I'm not. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm doing okay. You know, I don't have 5 kids by X number of different baby fathers. So, um, but what about you, Kenneth? I mean, like I said, you recently divorced, and you've been out there in the field. What's your results been? What have you experienced? If you can talk about that.
I can talk about it. It's been fine, I guess. I mean, I feel like it's new territory for me, so I haven't dated that many people or talked to that many people. I honestly get discouraged um quickly.
Hmm. You
Um
think it's because of your age? Because you're a bit more, you know, more what you want?
no, but like almost like sifting through, like say online dating, sifting through and then like what do I actually have the time and capacity for?
Right.
I was talking with someone for some time and um that was it served its purpose and I don't say that to minimize it,
Hmm.
but once everything was said and done, like with the divorce and stuff, and I realized where I am, like what King just said, you come out of your divorce and like and it doesn't just hit you when you get divorced, or at least not for me, but like you're shifting your focus to say, what do I need, just me, and also though to provide for my child. I'm not going to put my eggs in a basket where if that basket gets snatched up again, now I'm having to scramble because it wasn't my basket
Yeah.
to begin with. So I don't have the capacity
Mm.
to date in that way. And when you said that girl said no because she just wanted to do whatever, like right now, if I'm approached and somebody wants to take, I know what I want. I want this for my life. These are my goals or whatever. I'm not there, right? And I don't know if I'll ever want to be there. And so then that complicates the situation too because not everybody's in the same space as me as like, yeah, that's cool. We could just do this and then I guess we're just going to do this,
I like that honesty.
right?
Right.
Mm.
I like that.
But that took some learning as well. And that's a hard position to be in. It's because you don't want to hold somebody up,
Yeah.
but you also be like, what am I doing?
Hmm.
You
Mhm.
know? So,
Yeah, I was in that recently.
yeah, like what am I doing this for? And then like I said, then I get discouraged and it's like, okay, well, I gotta go to work on Monday. I got to go do the daycare drop offs and da 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 da. So, all right, because what do I have the capacity for? Again,
Right.
I'm busy
Hmm.
already. So,
I get it.
yeah.
You want something, not you per se, but you want some kind of low key, low effort because your schedule as it is almost pretty much packed. And you want something that's going to be not so time consuming and resource consuming, you know, just kind of a chill person to chill with when you got the free time and you want to spend the free time with that person.
Right. But then what that sounds like,
Hmm.
what it looks like on paper, and what it really is in real life can look completely different,
Yeah.
even if I'm the one who's saying, this is what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, yeah, finding a willing participant and also staying within my own boundaries where it's like, oh, dang, now you just said this. What you gonna take it back?
What was
You
it?
got,
The 3 words?
no, 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 no,
Oh,
no,
oh, okay. I was like, where's he going with
no,
that?
no, but I don't know.
Olive juice, you
No,
did.
no, but I do regular check-ins to say, I don't want a relationship, right?
Yeah,
Da, 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 right? Because I don't.
I get it. I get it.
Mhm.
The last one I was with, she, it, it's happened a few times, but basically she told me she was falling for me, even though we were on the same page. Is like that wasn't what we wanted. We were, enjoying our time together, whatever it was. But she was like, "Yeah, you're kind of too perfect. I'm starting to fall for you." And I was like, "I get it." I was a little upset because it's like, damn it, it's kind of all perfect. But it's just like, come on, stick to the contract, basically.
But it's hard. It's hard. It's like I feel like in doing that, you are also setting yourself up. I do think that it can be done. I don't have experience in it,
Yeah,
and I don't know, but it's hard
right.
because
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to
no, go
jump.
ahead.
No, please finish. I don't want to be rude.
I was just saying, like, you spend time with a person, and that you spend time with the person, you're getting to know them, whatever, and you're doing it strictly off of like, I want to be around you versus like,
Mhm.
I gotta pick her up, or I gotta go do this. Like, I don't
Yeah.
actually. I'm doing it because I want to. So, but if you enjoy being around this person, that says something. So it's hard to keep it so black and white because it's like, well, I want to be around you more.
Hmm.
And why is that?
You're pleasant.
Because I like you.
Well, you've got other people in your life that are pleasant too that you could be doing those things with.
Do I? But
Mm,
I mean,
oh,
huh? Go ahead. No, no, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
my current relationship started as a look, I ain't looking for nobody. Plain and simple. I'm not just straight up, I'm not looking for anybody. And I think she's watching now too, actually.
Hmm.
But over time, the whole Steve Urkel, I'm gonna weigh you down, baby, applied. But also at the same time, while we were hanging around each other, she was pleasant to be around. And I enjoyed her time. And I'm just gonna say this, and this is I tell people this is the most unromantic thing you can say about somebody, but she brought value to me.
Hmm.
And I saw that and was like, if this continues, then maybe something can work something out here. I thought she was fine.
Right.
I thought that from the get go, but I was just like, hey, look, I'm beyond past dating. I'm through with this. I'm frustrated. I'm good. I have found peace, and my situation and my setup now is dope, and I ain't trying to mess that up. And she came in introduced to like a game night type situation that was meant to put us in the same room.
Hmm.
Y'all don't, yeah, whatever. Um, but over time, she brought value, and that is what I saw. That I was like, if I can have this value, and this stays this way, then I can work with this. The people that were around in the picture before then, it was because when we decided to make things work, I had to cut them off. And she was aware of that. She said, "Hey, is there anybody that would be angry that you are looking at doing something towards serious?" I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna have to end some things," but it was purely transactional. It's, "Hey, I'm a busy person. You're a busy person, but sometimes people still got needs. Like, if our timing works, like, let's pull up. But you got to make sure that you get tested every so often. I'll do the same." That was the arrangement that we had.
Hmm.
That so when her and I got together, she brought value to me. I liked it, and I wanted it to stay around. Before I took myself off of the dating market completely, I had to have some introspective about myself, and there were several people that I felt like were good women, but I wasn't ready. I told myself I thought that I was, but it was because after my divorce, I just wanted to be wanted. I wanted to be wanted or desired, and I'm like, I deserve this. I take that back now. I'm like, I don't deserve to be wanted. That's not how I feel. That's not how I feel currently that it should be. But I was going out on dates with people on the wrong type of mindset, and those ladies did not deserve that. I'm good friends with three people who were pretty solid women, and one of those got married like 8 months after our date, and she's happily married now and everything like that. And she's a pretty solid person too. She told me I'm dating to be married, and I thought I was too.
Hmm.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
Is that what you said at the time to her?
Yes, because I was lying to myself thinking that I wanted to. I'm like, I'm a good husband. I can be a good husband. First one just didn't first one just didn't work out. But I can be a good husband, but I had to work through a whole lot of things that um was just messing me up at the time that I had to sit on somebody's couch to figure out. I was depressed. I called it in a funk. I didn't know how to call it. I didn't know what being depressed was. But once I got through that depression, it just opened up everything. And the people that I was dating while I was depressed did not get the best version of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder too, like, I hold space for all of that within myself. I don't feel depressed. Um, I don't like I don't feel actively feel like I don't know if you knew while you were going through it that you were depressed or maybe you did,
I didn't.
but I'll hold space that maybe something is there because you're dealing with the stuff as it comes, right? Um, Not to shift gears a little bit, but I just reflected on something similar yesterday that like while the divorce is over, the relationship is over, I'm still in trauma actually. Um I won't say on a day-to-day basis, but like co-parenting for me is and can be, it's getting better a little bit, but it can be and has been traumatic to a point where um I just got stories. I'll be telling stories about like let me tell you this and let me tell you that. Not just to tell you, but the things that I have stories about. It's like these aren't just like, yeah, he pissed me off today. It's just it's traumatic. And so without really honoring that, or now that I am, it's like I'm living in trauma. I'm still living in trauma as a result of the person that I was married to. So I don't know what I am or how silent I feel good, but to bring that into a new situation with somebody else, I like I said, I was dating somebody, for some time or whatever, and now that I'm not, it's almost like a defense mechanism. I want to get married. I would love to get married, but I don't know that I actually believe in it. And so while when you tell people I'm dating to marry, it's like, yeah, yeah, I could marry because I am a good wife. And I know, half the shit that's going on is not because of me. And it wasn't. But am I actually dating to marry if I actually don't believe or I believe marriage works out for some people.
Yeah.
Do I see it in my own cards? I don't know because I'm scarred. So I can't tell someone I'm dating to be married, even though that's what people our age are doing, right?
Do you think some of your scarring and your trauma comes from almost like a wound being reopened because you have to, do the transfer of your child between the two of you? Like,
Yeah, it's not the transfer. It's I still have to if I did not have my child,
mhm.
I would not be associated with this person anymore.
Right. That's basically what I'm saying. Do you think that it's kind of like a wound being reopened every time? It's not fully healing, but it's kind of reopening every time you have to interact with him. Do you think?
It's not even the interactions. It's not every time I interact. But yes, but not for the reasons that you think. The wound that's being opened is the same person that was signed up to be my husband, right? My partner, my whatever. Like he has downfalls that he can't really come to terms with. And that didn't just show up there because it's a part of who he is. So these things aren't happening on a daily basis, but when these things come up, it is absolutely I mean, it's getting better, but it is like reopening a wound or just something else. Like I'm just over here minding my business and here we go again and I'm not even the one who's doing it. So I'm navigating stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's reopening a wound, but it's just like you want to be done. Divorce marks that it's done, but I'm actually not done because I'm forced to interact. It's not the drop off. It's not the handoff. It's not a specific time. It's just like when it's time to show up or when it's time to be accountable or if it's time to be honest, just things come up and it's just like, yeah, here we go. Here we go.
I understand. I'm divorced, have a child. She'll be 18 here in a couple of weeks. But I was afraid of the fact that there could be an impact that my ex-wife had on my dating life. That was a constant thing that was in the back of my mind. Like, what if, something has to change or shift or whatnot, and now something that I had planned just didn't work out. Or we didn't have a whole lot of bad times, but some of those bad times where I'm like, I'm not understanding why this thing uh affected her this way, but then because now I'm still sitting on that conversation earlier, I didn't realize that it affected my mood even going like later into the day. I'll bring a real specific conversation that had occurred one time. And chat people out there, I'm not bad mouthing her when I say this. We had a situation where the lady who I rented from before my current rental situation was batshit crazy. This was right. COVID happened, the world shut down March 8th. I moved into this place March 1st of 2020. That that situation necessitated the landlord to stay in the same house that she was renting with me and this other guy. Me and that other guy are still friends to this day. And I'm not just calling her crazy because of my experiences. He broke the lease 3 months into it because he's like, I can't deal with her anymore. I was telling my kid's mom that I don't want our daughter to be up her house. And for these 6 months, let's do something different because I don't like what the lady could do or the influence. And instead of hearing my concerns, she jumped down my throat immediately, questioning like if I could protect her and something about like you didn't want me to come into the place and like I'm like, what does any of that have to do with the fact that I'm expressing a concern? And it killed my mood. I also had something that was set up like a day or two later, but that from what had occurred 48 hours prior was still on my mind. And basically, what it is that I'm saying is, I don't fully know your situation, but I'm hearing something that's going, I understand that because it's the influence that that person has because you have that child with them. There is a level of things, and to me, there's a things could be smooth, and if it goes smooth, it's great. But there are those moments that you have those ups and downs, and those downs can have an impact on you. For me, it did up until a certain point. I'll just say that it did for me up until a certain point, and then I finally said, you know what? I can't allow this to be a thing anymore. And I stopped. And my current situation that I'm in now, I think they might say that they're friends, but that wasn't something that I cared about. They didn't have to like each other for me to have a relationship with the person who I'm dating now. It works out. I think it can make it stress free, but um there are things because if you're a single parent that you are responsible for that if you're dating somebody, they have to have an understanding of that. Um, and in that front, I feel as though I got lucky. Because my current relationship understands that. And if it was too much for her, then she could have been like, yeah, I can't do this. And it is what it is.
Yeah. I do have one question for you, Ken, before we close out. You said you want to be married again, hopefully, if cards, turn out to be that way. How do you feel about having another kid or more kids? Is that on the table as well, or no? You done one and done, or
Um, Probably done. I would have liked another kid, and that's that not to go back again to marriage, but that's like another part of moving forward.
mm-hmm.
Um is grief. Grief shows up a lot of different ways. Grief, when you say it to somebody, I feel like that isn't married or that hasn't been through it, um or the divorce part of it. Like it's not I miss him, but I am about to be 38 this year. I thought I we were actually pregnant a second time and I had a miscarriage
Hear that.
about a year after Ava. And then, just the thought within the marriage of like, are we gonna have another one? Like, okay, time, but time still passed. And now I am single with one child at, let's call it 38. What am I going to do to have another one? I don't want to have another one just for the sake of having another one. I don't ever want to be a single parent again. This shit is rough. A single primary parent with going, I'm the primary parent.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he is not around, but you can be around and still do the bare minimum.
Right.
And so if you do the bare minimum, then everything else falls on me,
Yeah. You
right?
multiply that. I get it.
So no, not at all. And then to then say, do I want another one? Do I want to? There's so much sifting that would go on to just find a partner, a value, not going on a search, but naturally finding a person, finding out whether or not they're compatible, finding out not because you sitting there having a conversation checking off boxes, but seeing the words in action. Does it add up? And is this somebody I want to have a child with?
Right.
Is this someone who I trust for the child I already have?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very discouraged from having another one because that is going to take time.
Right.
And the further away I get away from childbirth, I don't know. I don't know. But if the cards were on the table right now, I would do it. As in, if everything else that I just said was aligned, I would do it. But not with someone that I'm not married to. And to be married to that person is a whole nother thing at this point in my life. So it seems like I'm going to be one and done. And that's okay.
Okay.
That's okay. Yeah.
That's fair. Like I said, I was just curious because that's actually one of my questions I had, I think, last week that we didn't get around to. But it seems like more and more women are kind of opting out of having kids, whether they have one or not. Um, and I was wondering, like, where is this supposed trend coming from? Is it because they just want to live their life as their own life? They don't maybe they don't want to mess up their body. Maybe they feel like they don't want to take care of a child or things that you're going through, your strifes and your hardships you're going through with your ex, as far as you having to be the primary parent and him not showing up as much as he should be as far as in his responsibilities with your child. Um, so I don't know where we would get an answer like that from, but it was a question I wanted to pose. If you had any thoughts on that, as far as like I said, it just seems to me that women are kind of opting out of having kids today. I think that there is a study that has gone on right now that says that our population
You
is
and these
declining.
studies.
Hey, studies are studies for a reason.
But you see how complex the reasons are?
Yeah, of course, I know, but that's why I'm just fielding, ideas and thoughts on it, though. That's what we do here. We have these conversations. Um, like I said, I haven't gone deep into the study, but it has been said from these studies that our population is declining because in order for a population to stay the same or even grow, you need to have, I think it's 2.1 kids, which means you have to replace the parents. So if you aren't having at least two kids, you're not really replacing the parents, so the population is inevitably going to go down for that family. Of course, there are people out there, like I said, my ex, who has like five kids. I mean, if this is Starship Troopers, I mean, she's doing her part, basically.
Anecdotally, I'm the oldest of four. I got a brother that's 38, never married, no kids. He doesn't want any. Two sisters, one's 30.
Hmm.
She says that she desires a family and things like that. I'm not seeing the steps she's taken for that. And then my youngest sister's about to be 21 actually in about 3 weeks. No desire whatsoever. My mom's only grandkid is likely going to come from me.
Wow. Huh. So you said it's four of you,
Hmm.
and only one.
I'm the oldest of four. Yep, and I'm the only one who has one child.
Wow.
It's kind of the opposite for me. So I have a full brother, full sister, half brother, half sister. So it's technically five of us, and I'm the only one that doesn't have any kids. um, I'd like to, but it has to be with the right person. Because I am doing my damnedest to not fall into the situation. Not to say anything wrong with your situation, but fall into similar like both of your situations. Because I know it's tough
It
to have
is.
to do all that on your own, to take care of a child, mentally, physically, spiritually, all that kind of stuff. And I feel like that's something that I would rather do with a partner and not have to fully take it on myself, if at all possible. So I'm doing my level best to find that person who I feel is going to be in it for that long haul, just like I would be committed to being in it for that long haul. Um, so yeah, I think we had a productive conversation tonight. And once again, I appreciate you guys for coming on. As always, I am Sean, your host, 41. Still single at the end of this podcast. Nothing's changed. And in case you guys forgot, I'm going to remind you that you guys are watching the number one podcast within 1 mile of where we're sitting right now.
Yes, sir.
You know, congratulations. And make sure you guys check out, well, make sure you guys subscribe to this channel and hit the thumbs up. And make sure you're subscribing to Finances with Uncle Nev. He's going to get your finances right. He's 81, so he's got 81 years of knowledge that he's going to impart on you guys. So just bear with us. We're getting the content out as fast as we can, but lots of things are going on. So, like I said, check him out. Make sure you give him a subscribe as well. And to my left, we have.
Oh, I'm still Candace.
All right.
Still 37. Candace Kane lifts.
Now,
Candace.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's it. I was just gonna repeat myself. Candace Kane lifts.
Kenneth Kane lives. I mean, you didn't tell us about what your handle is about. So really briefly, because nobody knows, you just gave us a handle. What's your this handle about?
Well, it's probably gonna evolve into something else. I just picked that name to start with because TikTok's really big, and you might come up with the name, and you'd be like, "That's the one," and you put it in there, and it's like, "Yep, somebody beat you to it." So, I'll be putting out content that highlights my workout routines or just the fact that I work out regularly, um, meal prepping, and
Nutrition.
huh?
Nutrition.
Yep. But when I say it's probably going to evolve, that's just where I am and what my life is right now. I have a lot of stuff that I've already recorded that doesn't have to do with meal prepping or working out. It's just life over the last, we'll call it 5 years. I plan to highlight some stuff with Ava, me and Ava,
Yeah.
because I've never recorded with a purpose aside from the working out part. But her, like, I just be recording because she just be in there doing all sorts of stuff, or like us in the car. Um, and my homework that I did that day was to create a name, but also to go through that thought process because it's overwhelming for me sometimes to think about how am I, I don't, how am I going to record? Okay, where's the camera going to be? And then I'm like, you know what? I'm not recording today.
Yeah.
So,
Man,
but I already have so much that I could put out that, you know, I already have content. So I just got to create it.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, I'm King 41 again. I'm sorry, about to be 41. And I got two things to plug here. Thing number one, if you are interested in being on TDG and you're in the DMV area, shoot a DM to TDG official or whatever it is on Instagram and talk to Sean, and we'll look at getting you on. So that's plug number one. Plug number two is the King and Me show on all platforms. I'm not going to be on any of the next live streams because myself, Castle, and Michelle, that's my lady, we're all going to be in Tokyo. So be sure to follow our social medias on that, as we're going to post vlog and content um up on there. And the thing that I told Michelle to watch out for, Michelle's 5'9" with locks. And I said, "You are going to stand out as different over there in Asia. It's not rude or disrespectful, but watch out
They're gonna
for it."
touch your hair.
And see, I told her to be mindful of that. I'm like, you have to. She's like, I don't know how I feel about that, King. I'm like, trust me, it's not meant to be rude or anything, but they are going to come up and do that. So I'm interested to see how when she sees it and it happens the first time, how she's going to react to it. I think I'm going to have to be there to help her
Mhm.
navigate that. But I did tell her like I want to kind of sit behind her, and we've got those glasses, the Meta Ray-Ban glasses, and I said I'm going to tell you when you walk down, you're just going to have I'm going to catch people staring at you because you're going to stand out
Yeah.
being a tall black woman with locks. So tune in.
Yeah, I think she's definitely gonna get looks. I don't if I had to bet, like put a wager on it, I don't think people are gonna try to touch her hair because I could be wrong. That's why it's a bet. When I was there back in 2018, most Japanese people just kind of stuck to themselves. Um, Now, I mean, like I said, depending on where you go, they might want to touch your hair, but I'm willing to bet, like, yes, they're definitely gonna look. They're definitely be inquisitive about it, but to put hands on it, I don't know. I would say probably not.
All right. So we're there for 2 weeks. You want to do
Five different.
$20 at because it can't just be one.
Hmm.
5 attempts over 2 weeks,
Okay. So if five people touch your hair,
or make the approach to do it.
okay, $20.
$20.
All right,
All right.
bet. I'll sell it. And if they don't, I get $20.
So those are my socials. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you guys tuning in as usual, and hopefully we'll catch you guys next Saturday at 8 ish, more like 8:15. All right.